Okay, so we've had Sean Anthony Blackwood, world bodybuilding champion and personal trainer. And today I'm interviewing a friend of mine, again, past students, and we work side by side, or did work side by side in a fantastic gym, Fitness Factory Birmingham, owned by Simon Haycock, who I have the pleasure of interviewing tomorrow. So a lot of us that work together, keeping in touch, trying to help each other out. So again, just off the cuff conversation with Peter, get a bit of background on him and what his role is as a personal trainer, nutrition advisor, mentor to people. He's a fantastic family man. Really touches me how dedicated he is to his family. And because of that, his job role has changed fantastically, though he's still doing his role, helping out his clients and working with them. But in order to provide for his family, he's out there working, pretty much front line as a key worker, but I'll let him explain. So just want to say, first of all, on this not quite so sunny Sunday afternoon, pal, thanks for nipping in, and we'll make it as quick and as painless as possible. But it's really for you to have a little chat to camera. So Peter, like myself, is quite new to all this online video conferencing type stuff. So IT wise, we're still kind of figuring it out. So if you can make sure, one thing, Pete, your phone is on silent or do not disturb or whatever, mate, because yours, like mine, is probably pinging away. Unfortunately, not with work, just with people sending me frigging memes or whatever you call it and jokes. I don't know, I'm guilty of that, mate. Some of the stuff I send you, I do apologise. You're probably going to need therapy after this with some of the jokes I'm sending you. So I apologise now for that. So tell us a bit about yourself, Pete, as far as how we met. And prior to all the madness that is coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever the names we want to call it, lockdown 2020, what your role was. So how we met with your profession and career as was and still is, where you were working alongside me the last couple of years, and then if you can and only what you want to share, we'll go a bit into your background and then what you're doing at the moment, and then kind of have a guess at where we're going to be in the future. So what's your background as far as meeting me then, pal?
Right. My name's Peter, obviously, as Cain introduced, and I've got my own business called Emperor Fitness. I've been in the industry for about 4 years, 5 years in total. 1 year I spent trying to get experience with working with people to make sure this was right for me. As I'll explain a bit more later on, a bit more about my background, so you can see where I've came from. I used to work in Fitness First, Sturchley, and then Lidl bought the premises, and obviously they still ain't built on it, but the gym closed.
There is it still
it's still a building site. So me and the other 10 or 11 workers there, we lost our businesses and our livelihoods, and we all went our separate ways. I had to find a premises to move to clients that wanted to stay with me, because I was very successful in Fitness First. I had quite a big clientele base. I was working from 6 in the morning till 10 at night, often till morning till closing, and I was just building up my business. So when that ended, there's only one gym that I was familiar with before that was local, because I used to train there back in 2005 and 2000 and about 2010, 2011 I was there. And then straight away I went over there, spoke to Simon. Simon says yes, it's all right for me to work from there. So I took the client base that I had to Fitness Factory 2 in Kings Norton, and that's where I met Cain. At the time, I had lost a large chunk of my business. Going independent was a big risk. Obviously, I never had no financial guarantee that I was going to succeed. But I said to my partner that I'll give it a try. So I actually moved from Fitness First to Fitness Factory 2. At the time, I had about 12 to 15 clients that moved with me. But over a period of about 3 months, they started falling off. So while I was training at the gym, obviously I met the UK. And at the time, I had an opportunity to either do my level 4 PT course or do a nutrition course, which over the years of doing the PT, and I realised that myself and my clients and my partner, I struggled with the nutrition more than anything, even though I'd done a basic sports nutrition qualification that came with my PT course. it weren't in depth enough for me to actually get results with people on nutrition. So that's when I first spoke to you, Cain, and you mentioned to me about your nutrition course, and I didn't really know you then. Everybody was telling me you were the guru, and looking at you, I was like, how can this man know anything? Look at him, he looks like he's an alcoholic.
Hey.
I was like, skinny guy, what does
Look,
he know?
this isn't one of these. Look, now this is a proper green tea. I want to say thank you to Jordan for sending it. It's not a glass of gin and tonic. It's a proper green tea.
But then
a bit early even for me.
After speaking to you for a few weeks, I decided that I was going to take the gamble, and instead of going with the level 4 course, to go with the nutrition course. And it was literally the last bit of money I had, and it was the biggest gamble that I made financially ever in all the time that I've even been working or anything. It was the biggest financial gamble I took. It was around Christmas time, and I decided to go with the flow, and it was the best thing I ever did, because my business was at the point where I only had 3 clients up until then. And then soon as I'd done the nutrition course and put down I was doing nutrition and that, it was like just a miracle. Like my phone was pinging, I had people messaging me, and then soon as the new year started, business was booming. And if it weren't for the nutrition course, I wouldn't have got people the results I have done in the last 2 to 3 years now. I wouldn't have got the results that I've actually got. And I've actually helped family and friends as well. We've got health, and all the knowledge that I learned from Cain has helped me progress my business and help my family and friends as well as clients. So it was the best thing I ever did, was trusting Cain and doing his intense. It's not easy. It's a very hard course. Right. Cain not mess about. And the first time he gave me the manual and told me that it was sitting at the gym for me, and I went and looked at it, I nearly had anxiety, and I didn't open it for 2 weeks, and that is no lie. I just looked at the front page and I kept saying to my partner, I cannot do this. And lo and behold, I did, thank God.
You did, mate. You did it really well as well, because you came down with me in the car with one other, and we were travelling down to just near Luton. So this man really did apply himself. I think he enjoyed that, actually, because he got a bit of free study and revision. But we were getting all the way down early hours of the morning, weren't we? Like setting off at 5:30, 6 o'clock to get down there on time. I was asked to teach a course down south, and Peter and another lad jumped on that course. So extra effort over and above, because it wasn't local to him, but did fantastically. I mean, you got through it, and you worked hard, and your presentation was good, and your exam results and your consult, because you have got a great way with people who, again, like Sean, very mellow, very humble, very relaxed, and that puts people at ease. And when you are talking about a change in their lifestyle totally, from the minute they wake up to the minute they go to bed, as far as eating, because as you know, for a lot of people going to the gym 1, 2, 3, 4 times a week for an hour, that's nice application, dedication. But to get their head around changing their eating habits, drinking habits, supplementation, that is a major thing for people, because it is your working hours, whatever that might be, 16 hours a day, prepping meals and this, that, and that. And you've got to have a good understanding of human nature, how to communicate, have empathy with their situation. It might not be ideal with working hours, family life, whatever. And this is why you do such a good job, mate. You apply what I shared with you, and you've made it your own. You've done. I've seen you, literally just blossom in the gym, and the way you speak to people. And the other thing that Peter does, and Sean mentioned it on the talk that I gave briefly before, is Peter knows that he's good, but he doesn't know how good he is. But what he does do, like many of my other students, is know where their boundary, where their line, where their level of expertise and experience ends. So there's 1 or 2 clients that Peter sent along to me, as Sean and others have done. And then what I do is kind of filter back the very often more medical stuff. And I know Peter, like me, gets frustrated because sometimes people need that extra bit of help. They might need some medical testing. Obviously, the finances come into that, but sometimes it's a matter of people not being as proactive as they say they want to be, not being as dedicated. And Peter's great with that, because he's probably more mellow than me with his clients, in that, people have to move at their own rates. But I know you, like me, Pete, find that frustrating sometimes, because we want to help, and it's like, this is what you've got to do, and then they don't make that step. I think you've had clients, like I've definitely had clients, I've been doing this 27 years. They think by hiring you, that's it, it's going to happen. It's a kind of magic bullet. Well, I'm paying for it. Why haven't I got abs? I'm paying for it. Why have I still got gut issues or immune issues or headaches? How do you find that? Or I don't know, it's less so now, but did find that.
Well,
Because
to be honest, like with me, I'm really, really passionate about what I do, and my clients will tell you that. And like, people, what frustrates me more than anything is like with family life and stuff. Like, I put my heart and soul into my business, and I pride it on results. Like, I really undercharge per hour what I should be charging. I should always charge more. And I've always had people on my back for that. That's watching out for me and saying, "Come on, Peter, increase your prices." But the thing is, I'm the sort of person that I always doubt myself. So I always, like you were saying, I never know my own capabilities. And with me, I like to try and push people to get results. So then they're my advertisement. So what frustrates me, sometimes you got people that's putting in 3 or 4 hours worth of training with you, and you're messaging them every day, but they're not following or being honest. And that's the thing that gets to me, because it don't get to me like, it's up to them what they do, but I take it personal because I'm so passionate about what I do. And it is difficult. It is difficult even now, more so with not being able to see clients face to face. I actually had a client this morning message me and send me pictures of his update progress pictures, and he actually looks better now than he did when he was training with me. And it's because I've been messaging him here and there, trying to motivate him. When he feels down or a little bit low, we all have our ups and down days. I've been trying to push him a little bit, but he actually messaged me and said that all the knowledge that I gave him, he didn't think it would actually work. And it's all down to the diet, really. He's not really training. It's all about the nutrition. Now, before I was actually a personal trainer, I've got no background of military or like doing athletics or sports. I literally came from somebody that was 8 stone, a single parent, and I had no qualifications. I left school at 13. So obviously I was the underdog in everything I do, really. And when I lost my hearing, I'm deaf on this side, so I've got a cochlear implant. When I lost my hearing, that was the biggest turning step for me, because I went from someone that was arrogant and someone that was on the street and up to no good to somebody that had respect for people. And it opened my eyes, because I was at the point now where people were staring at me, people were judging me, and mentally it was really, really, really shocking, like how I felt. So I work with a lot of people with anxiety and confidence issues, and it's from what I learned about myself. Yes, I'm going to do your course, Cain, on mental health, first aid, because that's a must for me, because I do work with a lot of people that come from that sort of background. But the experiences that I learned about changing myself, I try to install in other people, which is self-belief more than anything. I always tell them, it's not about the way you look, it's what you're going to change internally. And I have a lot of people that won't even take pictures of themselves, and then after about 6-7 months of working with me, they have the confidence to do that. But when I lost my hearing, and I used to be out with my family, people used to stare at me and talk, and like even with my kids, I used to have a bandage on my head, obviously while the healing process was going on. And because I was going gym before the operation, I actually was at Fitness Factory, the old premises, at the time when I did have the operation, and I was told not to train, and I was stuck in the house, was going insane. So first thing I did was go to the gym. Now, going to the Fitness Factory all them years ago, and realizing what a great environment it was, even though I had this on my head, moving from there to Fitness First, it was a big step for me. So I understand the change of people wanting to start at home and then go to the gym, and the anxieties and stuff that build up from that. So until I had this operation, I didn't realize how much I really wanted to help people and give back to people, or anything like that. I didn't expect to be a PT. It was never my dream. I used to do music before until this happened. So when I lost...
Let me stop you there, Pete. Let me stop you there, because you hadn't mentioned that, and this is something I was going to put it in. But for the people who are feeling removed from their passions, their loved ones, their work that they care about, listen to what Pete just said, and I want you to reiterate that, Pete. So you've lost your hearing.
Yeah.
Yet you were doing very well, and you had some great opportunities, and I know, with potentially moving forward with your music. Tell us a little bit about the music, because that's something you're still passionate about, but that must have been, excuse my French, a real kick in the nuts.
I'm still very passionate about my music, but from 9 years old, my dad bought me a guitar, and I used to play the guitar and start songwriting, and then that's all I've done my whole entire life, really. And I still do little bits and pieces now with songwriting and stuff, but all the way from 9 all the way through even till now. I do little music. But what happened was in 2010, before my son was born, I was doing shows, raising money for charity. I was actually getting out there, done a few radio interviews. There's a few videos on YouTube. I was sharing music out there, even though it weren't mastered music, like in the studio, proper mastered and stuff. I was getting out there, promoting myself. I had T-shirts that I was selling. And I had a Britain's Got Talent audition, and it was a week before my son was born. So a week before my son was born, I was moving furniture. Obviously, I had Britain's Got Talent the following week, and I also had a few more radio interviews and shows lined up after that. And I was moving furniture, was setting up my son's cot, and it was just a case of just picking something up from the floor and standing up, and it felt like my ear popped. And then I tried to clean my ear out, tried to get pressure behind it, and it was painful. And then my eldest son was at my dad's house, and obviously we was arranging the furniture for when my youngest comes. And on the way to my dad's, it was raining. I kept saying to my partner that there's something wrong, and I had the window open, and the last thing I heard on that side was a lorry. A lorry went past, and on the opposite side of the road, and I heard the wheels, and that was the last thing I heard on that side. So I spent all 2011 going for tests, blood tests, hearing tests, regular hearing tests and checks. Doctors were baffled what had happened. There's no damage to my eardrum, nerves, anything. They couldn't say if it was going to come back or not come back. And I had some shows lined up while all this was going on. And now the one charity gig I went there, I explained to the DJ that I've lost my hearing and I can't hear. And I think he looked at me like I was insane. Done the show, had to keep done the performance, and I had to keep asking the DJ to rewind the track back so I could get it right, because I was finding that when I was trying to rap along with the music, it sounded like I had my fingers in my ears, and all I could hear was myself. I couldn't hear the beat, so I was getting lost. And plus, with loads of people around, I couldn't hear nothing. So after that, I just stopped the music. It was like a big kick for me. I went to Britain's Got Talent. I done my audition with the producers. Same again. I went in there, and the track is actually up on my SoundCloud, and I have shared it. It's called Get That. And I went there, performed the track to the producers, which was in a little room with a microphone and just them with a laptop. So like I never had no idea that it was just going to be music played from a laptop. So when I was there rapping, I couldn't hear because obviously my hearing had gone. So after that, I just stopped music, and I declined. Obviously, I'm the sort of person that suffered with anxiety and depression from 15 years old. From when I was out of school, I had problems trying to be around big crowds and stuff. I always had an issue with my legs shaking. It was a nervous thing that used to happen. And even with family, like I don't have it no more, but I would sit there and I would shake. So I couldn't even eat food properly sometimes in even in family's house. Like sometimes I'd be like, you know what, we have to go. I'd start sweating, we have to go. My anxiety was that bad. I couldn't even be around family. And I went from there to building my confidence up and performing and being somebody that I was trying to be for years inside, and being able to do that through music on stage and not being judged, to having it all taken away. So then when that happened, I had all my tests and everything came back. There was negative, couldn't find no problems. And then they told me I went to go get a hearing aid fitted. And I was thinking I was going to get a normal hearing aid. And I went there and they pulled out this headband with a little box on it. And I said, like, I don't want one of them. I want a hearing aid. And she says, well, we can't give you a hearing aid, Mr. Ali, because if we give you a hearing aid, it's like giving a blind person glasses. It's going to be of no use. And I said to her, like, there's no way that any hearing would ever go through that ear again. And she says, no, there's no sound there. The only tone that I can hear is like, literally, it's a tone that's our ears don't really pick up. So I had to get the box and a headband, and I had to wear that for a few months. Now, wearing that, I was really happy just to be able to hear. Now, I didn't really think about the psychological effects of, or how it's going to be for me with the actual operation of having the scar and the stud drilled into my head, how that would look. I never thought about that. So because I had the headband on, it was just nice for me to hear and be able to listen to music and just pick things up and be, because I couldn't even hear cars coming. I can't determine, like if I'm about to cross the road, I can't determine where a car's coming or not on that side, because it's totally gone. Like I could sit in the passenger seat and my missus could be talking while I got the window open. I can't hear. There's nothing there. So when I had the headband, I felt okay. I felt confident because I could take it on and off. I didn't think about anything. So when they offered me this operation and they told me, it's going to be just a small stud, and I was up for it. I thought, yeah, I'll take that. And so they booked me in for the operation. I was 25 years old when it all happened. I was 26 when I had the operation. And then soon as I had the operation and I was in hospital with the bandage on my head, there's a picture on Facebook and my head's ballooned up. So when they gave me the injections on the operating theatre, on the table, I was awake through the whole of the operation, and they injected my head. And when they injected me and they started doing the operation, I could still feel it. So they had to give me another 2 injections in my head, and my head ballooned up. So when I was in the hospital and I was after the operation, and Rox took a picture, and I've seen myself on the picture. At the time when she took it, I was putting a sad face. And when she took the picture and I seen there was a massive bandage on my head, like huge bandage on my head, I didn't know what to expect underneath that. And now, when the doctor sent me home, they said to me that I needed someone to clean it. And this is where it really hit home for me. So the 3rd day after having the operation, Roxy removed the bandage. And as soon as she had to clean it, she started crying. And from that moment there, I knew that can't be just a little thing with a little stud in my head. You know what I mean? And she had to put a bandage on. I had to go to hospital. And for 3-4 months, I had problems with infection and my body was trying to reject it. So I always had to have a bandage on. Now, the first day I seen my family, I walked into my mum's house and my mum seen me after having the operation, and my mum started crying. You know what I mean? And for me, having all these reactions from people that are closest to me, I didn't know how the world was going to see me or anything. My eldest son, I had a hat on for months. I hid that I had that there. I didn't want him to see it. Well, my youngest was already born by then, but my eldest, he don't really remember it. But I used to wear a hat. Now, the one day I was sleeping in bed, and my son came and lay next to me, and he was playing with my head. And I woke up thinking I could hear, but it was him playing with the stud. So what happens is the stud that's attached to my head sends the sound round to my good ear. So I'm still can't hear in this ear, even with the hearing aid on. It's all through the skull. It's a fantastic bit of science, and the way they've done it is brilliant. But nowadays, the operation's a lot more smaller, and it's not so much damage. They don't actually take the flesh away like they did with me. But from that moment of losing my hearing, it made me realise that never take anything for granted. And my partner started doing a hairdressing course, and I was sitting at home depressed. I was on medication. I was under the mental health team. I had a breakdown after having my hearing done, and I was under the mental health team for 3.5 years. And during that time, I had to kind of make some life goals. My therapist was helping me. I used to go there 3 days a week, and after about 3-4 months of going to Fitness First, the one day I was on the leg press, and he's a great guy. His name's Amir Khan, and he's a personal trainer that was at Fitness First. And the one day I was on the leg press, and I seen him helping someone with a squat, and the woman was, the young girl was struggling with the squat, and he was correcting her. And afterwards, it was this moment that I never forget, and I still do it with my clients now. She struggled, and I was sat on the leg press, and I'd done about 4 sets, and I was watching, and she was struggling, getting frustrated. And then she managed to do the squat, and then straight afterwards, he high-fived her. And from that instant, watching him high-five her, and the way that she felt, and straight away, I was like, you know what, I could do that. So, because I was training myself and I weren't getting no results, I'm the sort of person that if I do something, I'll give it 100%. If I say something, I'm going to do it. So I just done my level 2 originally, just to learn the basics of training, just for myself. I was overweight. I was 13.5 stone. I was on antidepressants. I've abused my body in the past, and it was all taking its toll. And Rox was doing her hairdressing, and I wasn't doing nothing. So I needed to do something. I needed to get out. So I started doing something for the first time in all them years that I was out of school. I decided to do the level 2. Now, for me, that was the first time that I actually done something and excelled in something. Like, I've never done my GCSEs, never done any major qualifications. I've done my level 2 and level 3 maths, and I failed English. I never even done it because I didn't like the tutor and anxiety and stuff. So when I done my level 2 and I excelled in it, I got like 89 I think it was 89% on the physiology, anatomy, and I got like 90 something on my actual practical. But during my practical, I was assessed by the assessors assessing the people that were assessing me for the course. So on the day that I had my, it was a real show of my own character as well. On the day of my actual exam, there was a guy marking me from the actual course, and then there was a guy marking him, and then there was a guy overlooking them. So there was like loads of people around me, and they actually picked me to do that. So when I'd done that, I managed to do it and excelling. I realised that I obviously clearly had something that I was good at here, and even though I thought music was my dream, it clearly wasn't. So the first year of actually qualifying as a level 2 gym instructor, I used to go to the gym and I started implementing what I learned on myself, and I was growing. And then people started noticing me and started coming in, and I started just giving people basic. I was always the person that can't sit down and watch someone about to do a deadlift and snap their back. I've always been like that. And there's a funny story actually I'll mention as well. I'm not UK and I talk forever.
I was just going to say, you need to take a breath. People say, I can talk, Pete, but it's great. This is a real person. This is an amazing story. And the little bit you just said there, sometimes the things that we don't get become a blessing for what we do actually go on to achieve and realize is a secondary dream. So, because this guy is one hell of a trainer, but like Sean, even more amazing as a person. So don't worry, mate. Just go with the flow. Just carry on.
So I was a member at Fitness First, and Steve is probably going to see this on Facebook, and he'll probably remember this moment. So when I was at Fitness First, I had a few people that started seeing how passionate I was. Like, I've always talked to people, whether you're friends or family, like you're a client. So when I'm there, I'm talking about muscles, the actions, what we have to do things. And obviously I sound really professional. So while I was at Fitness First, and a few people I did know there, I was giving them some basic advice, and that's how I would treat them like a client, because I need to make sure that if I'm going to invest everything I have to do my level 3, and gamble my whole family's future on it, I wanted to make sure it was something that I was going to be successful in. So I spent a year just gaining experience and just building my own confidence up, because I couldn't even speak to people face to face prior to doing this course. Like, I've got a good friend called Casey, and it was down to her that's helped me build my reputation and confidence with women, because I was very anxious and nervous. And the first time I had to go train someone, just doing programming, I sat in my car for half an hour. I couldn't leave the car. I was nervous about going into their house. So when I was at Fitness First, people used to come to me, and I was confident in there. I was able to be someone. I used to go there 3 times a day sometimes, just to train, just for my mental well-being. And I went there one day and I was training, and there was this guy that was going to do a deadlift, and he about to hurt his back. So I instructed him, and Steve, the manager of Fitness First, used to send the BTs up to watch me to make sure I weren't undercutting them and charging people money. And obviously everybody's in there listening to me. They're thinking that obviously I'm a qualified personal trainer or whatever. So I went, trained this guy anyway, showed him how to do a deadlift and everything. And then I went to go do my chest workout. So this is someone with anxiety now, me. And obviously I'm confident in the gym, but you put me in the spot out of the blue, and I was a bit shocked. So I'm there now, I'm bench pressing away, doing my little sets, and Steve's come up and he's like, Peter, come here, I want to have a word with you. He's pulled me up about training people in the gym. I was like a deer in the headlights, tears in my eyes, shocked, anxiety, nervous. But I just explained to him that I was just helping the person, because I've seen him about to have an injury, and there's no PTs up here helping the person. So I was just making sure he didn't hurt his back. Steve understood, and he put a cap on how many people I could train in the gym until I was licensed with them, which is understandable, because obviously I was drawing attention and people were thinking that I was getting paid for training people, which I wasn't. So me being professional as I am, I stuck to training just my partner and her friend. We did our holiday thing, and then true to his word, Steve gave me an interview that came up. A job vacancy came up in Fitness First, and he gave me an interview. So I already was a member at Fitness First for 4 years prior to actually working there. So I already had a good foot in the door. Now, all these years that I've been doing PT, and prior to doing that, from when I lost my hearing, I said, there's one thing I want to do. The whole point of my business is to help people. I pride myself on that. I don't care how much, if I have to lose money, gain money, it's not about financial gains, never has been. The reward for me is the way that people change internally and more than externally. Seeing someone smile, like for the first time while they're in the gym. I've took people that, many clients on my Facebook now that will be watching this, they said they would never go to the gym. They started home training with me. After a few weeks, I get them in the gym. All right. So I've always said I wanted to help people. And one thing that I did want to do after losing my hearing was work with disabled people or someone with disabilities or rehab. That's still my dream, still my goal. I'm still learning. I'm only 4 years into this industry. Cain, probably what, 1% of what you've been in here. But
No,
I'm
I'm
still
freaking old. I used to train Moses.
So I'm still learning. I'm still gaining knowledge. But I've always said I wanted to work with disabled people. And the very first client that I ever had sign up to me, that actually paid money, because I never took no money off anyone that I ever trained, that actually paid me money. His name was Calvin, and he was a visually impaired guy. And from training Calvin in Fitness First, I've worked with 6 visually impaired and blind people, and I've got good results with them. They've put a lot of trust in me, and people have been inspired and also praised me for the work I did with the visually impaired side of things as well, because I don't care that it's just their eyesight. They can still do sledge runs. They can still do run on the treadmill. They could still do everything that we can do. And the thing is, people think, oh, because they're visually impaired, they can't. So my business is being built up on trust of myself and self-belief, and that's where everything else has came in. So I had to trust and believe in myself and take the risks that I had to take, even financially, with spending the last bit of money I had to invest in your course, Cain. It's always been a risk for me from word go, and obviously coming from someone that's suffered with mental illness and everything else. When I told my therapist what I wanted to do, she never laughed at me, but she said to me, she said, it all sounds like a story. And from that, that little doubt that she just said that, like she didn't believe me, I made it happen. When I done my level 2, I didn't tell her I was doing my level 2. I did it on the side. I was on benefits. I had a little bit of money that I saved up, and I had to invest in myself. The first time I went to Bourneville College to sign on to the level 2 gym course, my partner was with me, and I sat down. I was filling out the paperwork. I didn't want no one to know I had mental health issues or anything. And the woman seen me with my hearing aid and sent me to the special needs side where I had to sign in. And I sat there with my partner, and I was like, I can't do this. You know, I've been trapped up for 10 years, and I've come out, and straight away I'm being judged in the place that I'm supposed to be learning. So that was a knockback for me. And I said to my partner, as soon as we left, I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do something that they're going to treat me like I've got a disability. Yes, I'm disabled to some people, but I'm not disabled to myself. It don't really matter. Like, it's a disability that people see on the outside, but there's nothing wrong. I had a worse disability when I was mentally ill, and that was something that no one could see. You know what I mean? And it was down to my partner that kept pushing me, because from that moment there, I'm the sort of person that if I said I ain't going to do something, I ain't going to do it. And that's exactly what happened when they sent me down to Access to Learning, I think it was called. And I sat there, and there was a few people with more issues than me. I thought, nah, I can't do this. But I still persisted, thanks to my partner, and she's pushed me all the way. And even with your course, Cain, you don't know this, but I was having severe anxiety 2 weeks before your course, and I got mad, and I was about to rip up your manual, and I put it aside.
You won't be the first.
Yeah, for 2 weeks.
I didn't know that. You've never told me that. That's so funny.
For 2 weeks, I had anxiety about looking at it. So on the day of the actual test, when I actually did the exam with you, and it was so in-depth, it's the most in-depth thing I've ever had to do. Like sitting there looking at things, the words are coming out of me. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but thanks to you, mate, like it's taught me a lot about myself, and I will pursue my level 4 at some point and get further qualifications in doing that, because I would love to go into rehab and stuff. But as everybody knows, with me, I'm very knowledgeable, but my speech and my pronunciation of words are absolutely not the best.
So. You get your point across. It's not a bloody English literature exam. It's not about grammar and punctuation. You're working with real people, you know.
I'm consistently trying to progress myself and my business, and having this lockdown has shown me how much different I am as a person, because before, if I would have lost everything, and this happened when I was seriously ill, it would have been the end of me. Like, it would have broke me. But what happened? The gym closed on the Friday. Saturday, I went for, I was straight away, I got up in the morning and went round asking all the supermarkets for work. And lo and behold, I managed to get a job secured within 3 days, and I started doing night shifts. So obviously I'm a bit tired. I literally slept and woke up about half an hour before we have to do this interview.
You look fresh to me, pal. You're looking good.
I don't smell it, mate. I'm sweating.
Thank God we haven't got smelly vision, scratching, sniffing.
Thank God for that, yeah. But I'm working nights in Asda now, and yeah, whatever comes out of this, I always will say that I lived a dream, because it all started as a dream. And I always said to people that I wanted to get my red shirt from when I worked in there. And I had even family doubt me. I had many people doubt me, didn't think it was going to be anything. And I did it, you know what I mean? And at one point, at my peak of my business, I was paying rent at a personal training studio. I was renting a gym slot at Fitness Factory. I had another gym that I was working from, as well as having home clients from Redditch all the way down to the city centre. So at my peak, I've always can look back on that and say, yeah, I was very successful. Even if I do ever have to rely on working for someone else, I'll always know that I actually achieved my dream, and I've lived it. You know what I mean? It's helped me. Soon as from the minute I've done my PT qualification to where I am now, the last 5 years, I've turned my whole life around, from being unemployed, on benefits and medication under several doctors, living in a council flat, to having a home, beautiful home, 2 cars, partners working. I hate being on benefits, and it was a kick in the balls, really. Sorry about my language there, okay? A kick in the nuts, really, like having to apply for benefits and everything again, because it's something that I always said I didn't want to do. You know what I mean? There's no shame in it.
Yeah, but this is a different, mate. I'm on universal credit. I've got 2 little ones that I support. I give the same as I've always given, with no income. We man up. I mean, without going into the detail of it, our long drives down and, you know, little chats when we were doing the course. Man, you know, I've been through some stuff in my life, but Jesus, where you've come from and what you've achieved is phenomenal. You are an inspiration to me, mate. You know, from frigging living in garages and frigging washing your clothes in McDonald's toilets and stuff. We don't need to go into it all, but you've been to some dark places, and look at you, like you've just said, look at the home that you've got around you, look at your 2 beautiful sons, and big shout out to Roxy and some of the stuff that, you know, she's done for you. What an absolute angel.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing as well. I didn't really talk about it, but I've been homeless, actually homeless 3 times. I was on the run with my dad. My dad got in trouble with the police when I was younger, and I was 12 years old, just turning 13, and I was on the run with my dad, sleeping on sofas. We used to squat in houses, like empty flats, and just have candles, and we never had nothing. At one point, I had a pair of trainers that I walked. This is no lie. I walked that far with my dad every single day that I burnt a hole in my shoe. My toe came out my shoe, and my dad never had the money to buy me new trainers or anything. So what did I do? I went and got cotton, and I sold my trainers up, and I made them last for another 6 months. You know, I've been in a position where I can't afford things, and my whole last flat was built up of things that people were throwing away. I ain't ashamed to be open and honest. I've shared my whole journey on my Facebook page. I've had people criticize me and say, why are you so honest? And the reason being is I know that somewhere out there's going to be a guy like me that was sitting down, stuck in his house, couldn't even leave the house to go for a meal with his family. When it was a lovely idea and he would get so excited, but when it comes to opening that door and leaving, couldn't. You know what I mean? I used to act like a 2-year-old, and it was out of my control. Now, mental illness is no joke, as everybody's seeing now, and it's 10 years ago, 11 years ago, weren't so publicised and stuff, you know. And with me, I've always been honest, like from word go on my Facebook, from whether what I eat, whether I'm good with whether I'm having good spells in my business or bad spells, I'm always honest. And the reason being is I like to share and try and inspire someone. I've had people that I don't even know watching on my Facebook and paying attention to me, messaged me out the blue and said, you know what, because of you, you gave me a little bit of hope. And that's all that matters to me. And that's the biggest thing. Like having nothing before and being homeless 3 times. I've been homeless with my son. And that's where my whole journey changed, really, because I was 19 when my son was born. His mum was only 17. And from being a young dad, that was on the street, everybody thought I was going to be in prison or dead. And I actually was at one point going to sign up to the army because my family couldn't cope with the way that I was. Like, I was out of school. I used to be a rogue, proper rogue. So when my son was born and he came to live with me when he was 16 months old, he changed my whole life. Like, I used to drive with no driving license, and police caught me, took my license off me. And what did I do? As soon as I was able to, I said, I'm going to pass my test and I'm never going to get caught driving without a license again, you know. And from when my son's been born, I try to just do everything right so I don't have to look over my shoulders again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I ain't ashamed to say that I've had to hustle my way through life, because I have. You know, it's not nice being 13 years old and having everything taken away from you with your friends and stuff, and being with just adults that around drug addicts. That's how I grew up, really. Like, I was just around drug addicts and always looking for the police. So it's all I ever knew until my son was born. And then after that, it's not the life I wanted. So it took me a long time to get to where a lot of people already are. Like, there's a lot of people that are younger than me with nice houses and stuff. And I've had people say to me about my cars before, like, how come you don't just have a nice car? Like, you know, why don't you just get a car on finance? The reason being is I like to have something and know it's mine. You know, like the roof over my head. It took me many years to understand that no one's going to take my house. Like, I always believed that I weren't going to have a house. Like, I couldn't even sleep on a bed for many weeks and months of living in my flat. I used to sleep on the floor in my house, in my own flat, with cushions on the floor from the sofa, because I was so used to that. I couldn't sleep in the bed. I found it difficult. Like, the first time I started sleeping in the bed properly, like in my old flat, it was really strange because I was so used to sleeping on the floor. You know, it sounds mad, and a lot of people that are probably watching this won't actually believe half of it, but that missus of mine upstairs, that angel of mine, she's seen it all. And when she first met me, she was 13. And then obviously when I was homeless, it was her that was feeding me. And when I was working at River Island in town, I was homeless. All I had was a car. I used to sleep in my car. And I even used to sometimes have to go wash my clothes in McDonald's. I ain't ashamed to say that. I used to wash my clothes in the sink and try and dry it with the dryer. And I had to do what I had to do. You know, I used to have to wash in McDonald's down and then fly to work and crack on like nothing was wrong. And really, truly, my life was a mess. So looking back on everything now, I'm very proud of how far I've came, but I'm truly inspired by those around me. And Cain, you're a legend, mate, because as you know, when I was actually doing the course, you made me realise how much I was spending away from my family and being selfish with my business. And you actually pulled me up and said to me, listen, your family has to come first, because you see me driving myself into the ground. I used to wake up, do your course and everything, and I still was running my business 12 hours a day, straight after the next day, and I weren't really seeing my kids. I never ever dedicated myself to something so much that I've got addictive personality, and I got addicted to work. And for the first 2 years of me doing my business, I was probably spent, well, put it this way, in 4 years I had 4 weeks off. That's how much I've worked. And it was only last year that I actually managed to get my priorities straight and actually go on holiday with my kids and actually do things and have more than 1 week off. You know what I mean? I did kick myself afterwards when I seen the bank balance dropping down, but these memories that I made with my kids last year, Cain, if it weren't for you making it real to me, I wouldn't have done it, to be honest. And I probably would have still been stuck in that mind frame. And even now I've got an addictive personality. I go work, I come home, I'm on my phone all the time and stuff, but I'm learning to shut off a little bit and enjoy the things around me a bit more, because at the end of the day, that's what I've done all this for, is my kids. You know, I ain't done it for no one else. I've done it for my kids and myself, just so my kids can say, this is my dad, you know what I mean? And not...
Mate, you know, maybe you don't know, but they will be hugely proud of you, mate. But, you know, and in a way, for some people, when this, you know, these kind of crazy things with this COVID hits, it tells us, I mean, certain things have happened to me and it made me evaluate how much I used to work. And that's why I had that conversation with you, because I've been there, worked till 10 o'clock at night, worked the weekends, and it cost me a lot. And I absolutely refuse for anybody to get into the time or my energy with my children, my two little boys, Freddie and Oscar, or everything, mate. So that's why, you know, I wanted you to see that light. And a lot of people now, hopefully, through the horrendous situation that we're in, might start seeing that, you know, reevaluate how magical the time is. I see it as much as financially it's really crippling. and I'm not seeing my clients and I want to support them, and we can over the phone, but it's not the same. But the time I have, homeschooling Oscar and running around and doing stuff is absolutely precious, mate. So, I'm glad that you saw that. And, when I've seen stuff that you put on your Facebook, when I hear you talk about your family, when I see you in the gym with Roxy, it's magical, mate. You've been an inspiration to me. I really think what you did, and you literally went out, and I pounded around the supermarkets and stuff, but my situation's a little bit different with kind of my boys. So I didn't go for that supermarket stacking shelves. I was quite happy to do it. I'd shovel shit, but I've got to think about where I'm going because of them going from a house to a house. But what you've done, mate, is literally go out and be a man. Go out and be an inspiration to other men and women. So I know when this madness calms down, you are going to make an absolute frigging killing and a name for yourself in this industry. Don't doubt for a second that you'll be able to pick this back up. Look what you've frigging done, man. And like I said, from having the confidence of doing the nutrition course, it's not just doing the course and getting the knowledge, which obviously is important that you can deliver that. But I think it gave you the confidence to believe that you could do it. And you've got to be seeing that again, when you come off these night shifts and you provided for your family and you fed them and you paid your bills, go back to what you're meant to be. Because honestly, you are. I see your temperament, your passion, your empathy in the gym, pal. And people love you, man. People absolutely look up to you. So I want to say thanks for today, because you've really opened up more so than I anticipated you would, because obviously I know some of the stuff. But I think people watching this back, that's why I wanted to give you, this time, this space. I will, with Peter's permission, put out. We'll give you his contact details, his phone number, his pages, his business page, and his own private page on Facebook and stuff. Because this is a man that I'm telling you, you should be working with. He's a phenomenal and true gentleman, provider, father, and great husband. So thanks, mate, for being so honest, because there'll be people watching this who are in a dark, bad place, and look what you've done. Look where you've been, and look where you're going to be again. You're an absolute freaking star. And to drag your stinky ass, yours, out of your pit and do this on a Sunday afternoon, pal. Honestly, for who you are, what you do, and for doing this for me, I really do truly thank you. You deserve get yourself a nice cold Desperados, mate. And once it's not down, we've got to go out and share one. Well, I say share one. I'm not sharing one anyway. We'll have one each.
I just want to say one thing beforehand, and it is if anyone's looking to do a PT course or nutrition course or any of the courses, I would highly recommend Cain. And the reason being is not only is he a good friend, no brownie points there, but it's just the simple fact of his attention to detail and how he will make sure that you are 100% confident in what he's teaching you afterwards as well. Because if it weren't for Cain, the way that he is strict on his courses and stuff like that, I wouldn't have the confidence to share the knowledge that I do with clients now. Like sometimes I have to double check on myself and just make sure I'm giving the right information off the spot of my head. So sometimes I say to them, you know what, let me just go home and double check that. And I'm always right. So I actually said to Rux that I'm going to sit down and get back into your manual as well, Cain, to just refresh everything. And I will be doing more courses. But if anyone's looking for a genuine PT course, not an online one where you get a Brucey bonus and just a certificate, do Cain's course, because I will actually do a refresher PT course with Cain too and see what I can learn further. I've done my level 2 twice, even though I passed them, just to keep my knowledge up. And I will do the same again when it comes to the PT. But obviously finances don't give me that room at the moment. But if anyone's looking for any courses, Cain's your man.
Thank you, mate. Hopefully they don't have 2 weeks of anxiety and rip it up or set fire. It's funny you told me on this that's what you're going to do, but they are challenging. But look, you flourished on that, mate, and you came out with good marks and stuff. Even if you did put your first meal plan up as with baked beans, but we won't talk about the baked beans. But we had fun as well. I mean, it was great spending time with you in the car, going down there and coming back, even though I had to do it in a hire car that was terrible because my car had been in an accident. But spending time with Peter was an absolute blessing. Really was, seeing what good hearts and souls are out there. So again, thanks to Peter for his time. And mate, you've got an amazing family. Just cherish every second of it, honestly.
I will, mate. Thank you very much.
Take care, pal. Have a great day. Catch up on your sleep. Thanks again, mate. You're a star.
All right. Cheers, Cain.
Take care,
Bye.
pal.